Hey guys, it's Ryn here and welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm going to be sharing my first impressions on some makeup products launched by one of my favourite makeup artists, Lisa Eldridge. So she has finally launched her pop-up store in Covent Garden, which I was very lucky to go and see, and also I met her in person as well and spoke to her very briefly. It was absolutely surreal, but one of the best experiences I've had of encountering sort of my inspirations. And I also treated myself to a couple of her makeup line. These products are what I'm going to be sharing with you today, so stay watching if you want to see my full first impressions and review about them. I've got the products on my skin and I'll take you through how I've applied it myself using Lisa Eldridge's recommendation. So first up we have Lisa Eldridge's Seamless Skin Foundation. Now it's a very unusual shape. You don't often find this sort of shape in store, and as you can probably see, it stands on a sort of very odd looking sort of curved tip like this. So actually it doesn't stand up by itself. Instead, it can either sit sideways like this, or you could prop it on your stand that comes with the box. So it's a very interesting way that Lisa has created this bottle. So she wanted to create something that is very different from what she's used from the market. So what she did was team up with a glass factory in north of France who actually create a lot of artisan bottles, and this was very much inspired by artists like Brian Cousy and also elements of modern architecture. And when you prop it on the table, you can definitely see those inspirations sort of molded with the final product. It's a very contemporary piece of art, and if you're into that sort of style, especially on your sort of like dressing table, I think it's quite a unique piece of art to own. And the colour and the glass, it's all very sort of, looks very luxurious. One interesting fact that she did share in her latest video was that there's this sort of like slight dent on the back of the foundation bottle where you can place your thumb just for that much more ergonomic feel, and you can have a better grasp of this bottle. And it's also a pump format. I've used a few pumps of this on my face, hence the mess. And as you can see here, you've got Lisa's signature or her logo, and you also see that sort of slight curvature that comes to a slight pronounced stop. So those two lines would line up, and that's how you would close, because the edges would kind of flow through like this. I really like the design. I think it's really cool. I've never seen a bottle like this before. I think it's definitely very, very like luxury in terms of how it feels and looks aesthetically, and very minimalistic as well. I think it's quite futuristic, but I'm sure Lisa's going for more of that vintage vibe. So let's talk a little bit more about what this foundation actually does in terms of its function. So this one is a medium coverage foundation. What she shares in her latest video is that she wanted to create something a little bit more like a true foundation with a bit of coverage for somebody who can wear it on a day-to-day basis, but can also build it up for an evening look or a occasion. So she does a lot of red carpets. She wanted something that she could just pick up in a kit so that she can use it, and I think it's such a great idea. And she has been doing this for a very long time and finding sort of different formulas for this before finally deciding on the final result. So there are 40 shades of this foundation in so many different types of tones. Obviously there's the light to medium, the medium to dark, and then there's all the deeper tones as well. And then if you want to go further in, there's also different types of undertones. This one in particular is I believe a more neutral tone. So neutral tones are those shades that are sort of a fusion of all these different types of like red tones, yellow tones, blue tones, all molded together, with that one being overly dominant. So that's what you call a neutral tone. And she also has a section of slightly more golden tones, so that's where the yellow tones are a little bit more dominant, and you can really pick it out when you see those shades. She also has a little bit more of that rosier tone where the red tones are a little bit more dominant. She also has olive tones. She finds that there's a lot of foundations out there in the market that doesn't quite match her models with that olivey tone skin. Generally it's sort of a mixture of two dominants, the slightly more yellow and blue tones, so you get that kind of green undertone. And she created a sort of a certain amount of products that will be able to work with those type of skin tones. So in terms of the finish, it's designed to be self-setting, and it creates more of that soft focus effect as well. So this foundation is also cruelty-free, it's vegan, it's designed with no alcohol, no parabens, no talc, no fragrance. It also has mesh-like ingredients which fuses with the skin after blending, and it's designed to hydrate, and it's elasticizing. It has antioxidant and skin tightening effects as well. So one of the fun facts is also it's got that customizable finish depending on what type of moisturizer or primer you use. You will see in her latest video that she sort of uses two different types of primers, one being more mattifying and one a little bit more dewy, and you see the difference as well, and I will show you two different types of finishes. So for the sake of experimenting with the different types of coverages and different finishes of the foundation, I'm going to be trying different types of moisturizers that Lisa Eldridge recommended to create different types of finishes. Now see, here is the Seamless Skin foundation. I've brought two different types of moisturizers with me. I've got the Embryolisse Lait Creme Concentrate, which is something that I absolutely love using for dry skin. This is great as a moisturizer and primer, and it's very, very rich in texture. So personally, I have very dry skin, so I find that this is extremely moisturizing for myself. I've also brought over the La Roche-Posay Effaclar Matte. So this is great for creating slightly more anti-shine or mattifying finish on the skin. I tend to use this on people or even on myself during the summer, but yeah, mainly people who have slightly more shine prone skin, just to take down and reduce any additional shine from the foundation. So what I'm going to do first is actually try the La Roche-Posay Effaclar Matte. I've cleansed my skin already. I actually just used the Garnier Skin Active Rose Water Cleanse and Glow. It's one of my favorites that I absolutely love using in my kit, but also I like to use it on myself. So I'm just gonna put around this much. I've brought my little mirror with me, so I'm just gonna pop it on. So Lisa only tends to use one pump for a very soft focus finish on her skin. I'm going to do the same. If I didn't mention it earlier on, there are a total of 350 pumps that you can get out of this bottle. She has advised to sort of work in very thin layers, which I'm going to be doing, rather than popping on too much. I like to use my fingers, especially when I'm sort of like not at home and on travel. Just save space in my suitcase. I'm going to just massage it in, but in a very specific way. I'm literally blending it outwards from the center of the face, because generally speaking, I don't usually use a lot of product on the outer part of my face. It does provide some coverage on my skin. I don't know if you can sort of see the difference that it's made. I'm going to use another pump because I felt like it wasn't really giving that much on my skin to see some sort of effect. I really like the texture of it. It's very lightweight, very good colour. It was advised either in her video that if you've got sort of slightly more enlarged pores, to gently sort of like press onto the skin and sort of slightly blur it into the skin. I have to say that this mattifying moisturiser certainly does create that extra mattifying effect, and like my redness around the cheeks, and it doesn't feel sticky. Actually, it just feels like I have got nothing on my face. Now, because my skin's a little bit more drier, especially nowadays, and today especially because I haven't been drinking that much water, I can certainly see like slightly more dryness around the eyes, which you probably can't see through the lens because it's not a very strong lens. But I can see it in the mirror, and it's certainly not something that I would personally want on a day-to-day basis. So I probably use something a little bit more richer, which I'll show you the effect of. But this is sort of the effects of using the mattifying moisturiser by La Roche-Posay. It's not bad, especially when you're wearing masks. I find that slightly more matting moisturisers or products in general, they tend to not transfer as much as something a little bit more wet and hydrating. So for a day where I don't want to wear too much product or going for that mattified look, I think I might try it with this particular moisturiser. But as you can see, there's no like extra sheen on the skin. It's just very natural, and it feels really soft and supple as well. I'm going to now pop on some Embryolisse Lait Creme Concentrate. I'm just going to pop this everywhere. Right, so the skin has been prepped. As you can see, there's a lot more shine in this, which I absolutely love. So once again, I'm going to use my fingers so we don't discriminate between products. I'm going to use a pump and a half because just now when I tried it, one pump was definitely not enough. So this shade of foundation is number 7. I didn't actually get it properly colour matched by one of their makeup artists. Instead, I sort of guessed the shade and then asked my friend who was with me and who is also a makeup artist to confirm whether she approves or not of the shade. Now, generally speaking, I tend to enjoy my skin looking a little bit more brighter, maybe slightly more illuminated rather than too overly tanned. So I went for a shade that isn't sort of like overly warm in colour. Another option of how you can apply this foundation is if you mix the moisturiser in with the foundation. You can do it in sort of like different proportions, so like 2 parts moisturiser, 1 part foundation, and you create that sort of tinted moisturiser effect. And this is a tip that Lisa Eldridge recommended in her recent video. So now you see this one has a lot more of a sheen to the product, which is amazing actually. So there are 5 key ingredients that I've written down here in this foundation that she emphasizes, and I'll go through them with you now. The first one is called Oxygen Skin. So this one's designed to boost the oxygen levels in the skin for a healthy glow and strengthen the skin barrier. It also hydrates and smooths the skin. Certainly I do find that after application the skin does feel a lot more smoother. It certainly doesn't feel dry at all. So this particular ingredient is a natural active ingredient derived from nasturtium flower. Never heard of that before. The second key ingredient is Uji tea extract. So this is from the Uji green tea leaves from Kyoto, and this is well known for stimulating the skin defense system and therefore reduce inflammation and premature aging. So don't we all want some of that? Our third ingredient inside this is Film Excel, and this is also found in the highlighter, which I will show you in a moment. So a Film Excel is a biopolymer. It forms a resistant and flexible mesh on the skin. So 3 minutes after application, apparently it creates that lifting, tightening and smoothing effect. And certainly the smoothing effect I can see almost instantly. The whole inspiration behind the story of why a foundation was created in her line was because many years ago, I think back in 2012, she shares a story about how she applied a specific foundation on a very well-known celebrity who she doesn't name. This foundation is from a brand that she's been using for quite some time and she trusts their products, but the foundation has been revamped or refurbished, so she was using the later version of it. And what happened was that 30 minutes later, that particular foundation on the skin changed, and she was about to send the celebrity off for fitting and for the hair to be done, and there was like literally no time to remove everything and reapply. She managed to sort of take it down, but it was from that moment that she realized that foundation is key, and finding out a formula where the foundation doesn't change color, not in a oxidizing way, but rather in that sort of sudden change of tone within 30 minutes rather than over time throughout the day. It was a very challenging process, and she managed to sort of figure out what worked for this. That's the sort of little backstory why she decided to add a foundation to her line. So what Film Excel does is it creates a natural barrier against pollution and irritants, and it also creates a very skin-like finish. The fourth ingredient in this is the bamboo stem extract. I haven't heard of bamboo stem extract used in skincare or makeup, but apparently it has a naturally rich source of silica, and it absorbs excess perspiration and sebum, and this ultimately gives a very fresh and soft finish without drying the skin too much. After application, I do find that, you know, any excess shine, especially around the forehead area, which I sometimes have, it's not too overpowering. A lot of the times when I use a slightly more dewier foundation, I always find it has too much sort of oil resurfacing on the skin. The final ingredient in this is glycerine, and this draws moisture into the skin. As we all know, it's an ingredient that's been used for many, many years. Apparently it was found or discovered back in the 18th century, but is still used as a moisturizing agent till this day, and often a reference point for other humectants. We've talked about the foundation. This is the highlighter. There are 4 different shades that comes with this line. This is the Cosmic Rose one. It's the second one out of 4. The others are Crystal Nebula, and that's the one that Lisa uses and demonstrates in her recent video. There's also Solar Light and Celestial Fire as well. I chose Cosmic Rose because I don't have a pink toned highlighter, and it was the one that I felt was most enhancing and most complementary with my skin tone. Solar Light and Celestial Fire are a little bit more down the deeper end of the spectrum. So this is a skincare hybrid formula. It's packed with hydrating and lifting and humectant actives. It has small multicolored shimmering pearls which create that slightly more glistening effect on the skin, and it is lightly tinted and skin adaptive as well. It's quite adjustable. From what you can see here, it does have a luminous glow, and I'll share with you how to apply it in the next part, so stay watching. So next I'm going to be sharing with you how the application of this elevated glow works. So it's got a very similar ingredient list to the foundation, so that it's got this synergy between them and it creates the most seamless looking skin. Lisa does mention in her video that This works quite nicely underneath the skin. She likes to work on it on the higher points of the cheekbones and then use the foundation on top, and you get that very subtle glow. But there is also the option of working on top of the skin. Now, because I've already got the foundation on, I'm going to work on top of the skin. So when you open it, you get this beautiful applicator. What I'm going to do is pop a little bit on my ring finger and work it into my skin. This is my first time using it, so I'm very excited. I'm going to show you how it looks here first. So this has a slight hint of pink to it, and you get a very soft glow. I'm just going to tap it in first. You get that kind of a beautiful glow going on. You can see that the glow is definitely amplified compared to this side. This one's a little bit more like dulled. This side is more like wet effect. The glass skin is definitely still something that is very much the trend. I don't see it going anywhere yet. And I personally love a glossy skin finish. And I feel like the skin is definitely rejuvenated. It's a lot more like alive. I'm liking this. So I've been using the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood filter. That one has been serving me very, very well. I love it. This is a slightly different texture. I feel like this has a slight more sort of like sticky, slightly more stickier magnetic feeling to the skin. But I do like the skin finish, and it works quite nicely with my foundation. It doesn't strip it off. I find that sometimes when I use liquid highlighters or like balms, when I apply it onto the skin on top of another foundation, it doesn't necessarily bind onto it very well. Sometimes it slides and strip off a little bit of the foundation, or shifts it a little bit. So it's probably the first time that I've seen something, maybe not necessarily the first time, but very rarely do I see two products like this blend so well. And it must be due to the fact that there are certain ingredients in here that are the same. In terms of the packaging, as you can see, it's also got the same sort of style. It's got a frosted glass, and you can see that inside it's got a slightly more elevated bottle that elevates the product up. And the similar gold lid. We've got the application, which is a little sponge at the tip of this. And you can see the sort of slightly more shimmery product or particles in this. I'm not sure if it's meant to be blended in or supposed to show like that. But certainly when I apply it on my skin, I don't see that the particles separate. So maybe it is like that, I'm not sure. Moving on to the final two products. This is the True Velvet Lip Color, and I bought two different types. I've got the Velvet Blush Lightly and I've got the Velvet Cinnabar. So each of these bullets have a plush velvet fabric look. It's called a trompe l'oeil effect. So it's an art technique basically that creates a optical illusion that the object is three-dimensional. The effect is a matte finish. I've got the Velvet Cinnabar currently on, but I will share with you the other shade as well. So here we go. Ooh. Before I destroy it, look at this. So I already removed my lipstick from earlier. I really like the colour of this. It doesn't quite match what I'm wearing at the moment, but I can see myself wearing this colour quite a lot. I can feel the creaminess of this. And I love the smoothing effect on my lips. Like you can't even see the cracks that I can see. I'm going to try the other one now. So, what do you guys think? I think it's a clear winner. I really like this shade. I don't think I have a lipstick that's this colour, especially matching with one of my favourite colours this year. I've found so many pieces on a website called Shein. This is one of them. I also found like a very cute little dress this colour as well. I don't know why I really like this sort of rusty finish, but this lipstick is definitely adding to that collection of what I have in that shade. So this one has a saturated Technicolor formulation and a creamy texture. It doesn't feel like any sort of matte finishing product I've tried before. I tend to shy away from a lot of mattifying finishing lipsticks, even though I love lipsticks, but generally because my lips are very dry and often quite chapped. So when I apply anything too matte, it just accentuates the dryness too much. Now today, when I applied this, I didn't apply any balm, and even then I find that the lips are still quite smooth. It must be something in this product that makes it finish like that. It's very creamy and very comfortable to wear. There is a slight sheen to this, which creates that three-dimensional and luscious effect, and it's not that flat. Often in a lot of brands I find that the lipstick or the liquid lip that's matte is too sort of flat and sticky and tightening. So it's designed to be non-drying and very long wearing as well. It's also advertised as being quite lightweight and silky. I think silky is definitely a very good adjective to describe the feeling of this, because even now, it's been a while since I've put this on, and I can still feel some sort of like glide. So this is perfect for creating your statement look and even just a subtle everyday look. You can apply it by swiping it onto the lips and just sort of creating the shape in a very bold manner, or you could tap it on and sort of create a very soft bitten lip effect, which I do enjoy wearing on a daytime kind of look or a weekend look. The packaging I really like. It's very simple, it's very elegant. So you can see there's very little fuss with this. I like how it's engraved with Lisa's signature. And on the other side is the colour. If you ever get a chance to go to a pop-up store, you'll be able to venture into her gallery of vintage makeup collections. I saw the Chanel No. 5 powder that she's collected for like many years, and all her little compact mirrors and just powders and lipsticks and just all sorts of different types of beauty products. It's insane how one person can have such a big collection, but it's also very admirable as well. Oh, and actually, I've just noticed, this is magnetic together. Okay, so it doesn't stick the other side, but it certainly stick on this side. Huh, that's cool. And also, I believe she will be hosting some masterclasses at her pop-up store that will be open until the end of the year. So I think the last day will be the 31st of December. It's sort of situated right next to the Royal Opera House, so you can't miss it. It's really cool. I have bought her book previously online, so I didn't buy it in store, but it is available in store, as well as her sort of like other merchandise. And her jewellery collection is also featured. It's the first time I've seen them in person as well, and it's very beautiful. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I highly recommend going to the store if you get a chance to visit Covent Garden or just London in general. It'll be a very nice outing, and if obviously you get to see her, it's also very nice as well to have a little chat with her. So for those of you who use social media, I am on Instagram, on Twitter, on TikTok as well, and my handle is exactly the same. It's at ryn_zhan, as you can see below. And also do check out my website below as well. It's rynzhan.art to see the rest of my projects.